Oh, hey friends. You caught me at a busy time. I'm trying to make a time capsule for my niece. She's turning 1 tomorrow, and I just think it would be awesome to put in a few photos and sentimental items so that she can look back on her first year of life. Mia's gonna help me with that. You see this? This is an acorn from when we first showed Logan the park. I'm going to put it in the time capsule to help her remember that day. What's that, Mia? Huh, well, I guess you're right. It might be difficult for Logan to connect to an acorn without any context. That's a good point, Mia. We can use figurative language to write about the memories connected to the acorn. What should I use? Similes? Metaphors? Personification? Hyperbole? All of them? That's a challenge that I'm willing to take on. Make sure to use your guided notes in your PDF to follow along. This way, you can refer to your notes later when we write together. So before we get into writing, let's review some figurative language. First off, we know that figurative language is when words have meaning other than what is literally in the text. What we've been discussing the past few weeks is that hyperbole, simile, personification, and metaphor are all types of figurative language. As we go along, jot down notes in your guided notes to help you remember. Each of these pieces of figurative language not only have different structures, they also have a different purpose or reason for writers to use it. Simile is when you compare unlike things using like or as. An author may use similes to make a comparison between concrete and abstract items. Then there's a metaphor, where you compare unlike things without using like or as. Writers may use metaphors to illustrate comparisons, but with a stronger, more straightforward tone. There is also personification, when non-human objects are described to have human characteristics, emotions, or actions. Personification can be used to humanize these objects and illustrate their characteristics. The last one we have learned is hyperbole, which is an exaggerated figurative statement. The purpose of it is to use exaggeration to get a message across. All of these different types of writing tools have something in common, which is that they are all under the umbrella of figurative language. Another thing that they have in common is that they all create imagery and engage readers. So let's take a look at this acorn again. Maybe I can start thinking of some figurative language so that my niece will know why I added it to the time capsule. Let's see. We were in Balboa Park when I grabbed this acorn. I remember there were a bunch of trees there, and I saw the acorn on the ground. The acorn was lying on the ground waiting for me to pick it up. Yeah, well, that sounds like figurative language. Which one is it, though? Metaphor? No. What's that, Mia? Oh, wow. Thanks, Mia. Mia made this guide to help us figure out which type of figurative language this is. She also put a copy of it in your PDF, so you can refer to it later. Alright, so this piece of figurative language does compare unlike things because it is comparing an acorn to a human. This is because the acorn is described as lying and waiting as a human would do. So if we follow this line here, it says, does it use the words like or as to compare the items? No, it doesn't. So I would follow this line here. Does the sentence compare something non-human to a human? Yes, definitely. Personification also seems perfect to talk about this acorn. With this method, I can humanize it and really bring some personality to it. It works out because I think writing about this acorn in this way really brings significance to it. It is almost as if the acorn is a living thing to take care of. So it looks like this sentence checks off personification from our figurative language list. So let's think of something that can really spark some imagination for Logan. Maybe a little hyperbole? I guess it would be great to get the message across that it was so crowded that day in the park. Okay, so let's think. There were so many people in the park that it felt like the entire town was there. Let's use the guide to check if this is a hyperbole. So is this comparing two unlike items? Looking at this sentence, I think that is definitely a no. Following this line, it is asking, does this sentence exaggerate to get a message across? Well, that would be a yes. It looks like this is a hyperbole. Now we can check off hyperbole from our to-do list. Now let's compare unlike things. This way, when I use a simile or metaphor, I can use comparisons to really help illustrate what that day really looked like. So let's focus on simile and metaphor. We should describe the outdoor setup our family brought with us that day. Our camp kind of looked as prepared as a train wreck that day. It was an amazing day, but we really did not plan for it. It was a complete mess. It was truly a dumpster fire. Okay, so let's look at what I said and break it down. The first sentence was, our park setup was as organized as a train wreck. Let's look at the guide to make sure that this sentence is a simile. The sentence is comparing a park lunch to a train wreck. Those are definitely unlike each other, so we will follow yes on the diagram. Does it use the words like or as? So this sentence is definitely a simile. So let's look at the very last sentence. It was truly a dumpster fire. This sentence does compare two unlike things. It seems to be comparing the blanket banquet to a dumpster fire, which, when looking at them, definitely are unlike each other. It does not use the words like or as to compare the items. Now it's asking, does the sentence compare something non-human to a human? It definitely does not compare human to non-human, because the blanket banquet is compared to a dumpster fire. Both are objects, so that would be a no. I do not see like or as, so it is definitely a metaphor. And that concludes our writing session. So let's see what this description will look like when we put it all together. Dear Logan, I found this acorn at Balboa Park when we took you for your first visit. It was lying on the ground waiting for me to pick it up. I figured it would be a nice way to commemorate the day. There were so many people in the park that it felt like the entire town was there. A funny thing that happened was that our park setup was as organized as a train wreck. It was truly a dumpster fire. However, seeing you laugh and play made everyone's day. Yours truly, Tony. Thank you, friends, for helping me make this time capsule the best thing I could possibly make for my niece. We worked together like peanut butter and jelly. Really, you are truly a star. Now, I need to finish up this time capsule, and Mia has got to start helping me dig. Time kind of ran away from us. See you next time, everyone. Hey, hey.